Welcome to the WINSTEL 2003 Season Number Reveal Show. I'm Tyler Head.
And I'm Christian Budd.
And together, we're going to be taking you through tonight's show, which will reveal the numbers for our returning full-time racers and what they'll be fielding next year.
And this is, of course, for next year's season of WINSTEL, which will be based on the 2003 season. That series, of course, means that we're going to be using all of the paint schemes from the 2003 season, all the way from Jack Sprague's Net Zero, Number Zero, all the way up to Jeff Burton's number 99 Citgo Ford, and everything in between as we celebrate the 20th anniversary of this memorable year.
Open registration for WINSTEL's 2003 season begins soon, but first, eligible racers from this year's 2006 themed season will get their chosen numbers for next year. Each driver selected several numbers they'd prefer to run in the 2003 series, with selection order being determined by their position in the final 2006 standings and contributions to our league. Only one driver knew for sure which number they'd ultimately receive. Everyone else is finding out together tonight.
And of course, that driver is going to be our 2006 Gen 4 Challenge champion, which is Zach Campbell. Zach won 6 out of our 24 races, but still only won that title by just 7 points over Jose Salas Jr. And then using the old point system, that's just a couple positions on track. All this was accomplished when he was driving the number 19 car, but for the 2003 season, Zach has chosen the number 20, originally piloted by Tony Stewart.
And this is an appropriate choice, right? Tony Stewart was also the defending champion entering the real 2003 season. Zach will be easy to spot in that orange number 20 next year. Zach had the first selection, but now we're going to deviate from that order to keep everyone on their toes and make these reveals a bit more fun. So we'll jump down the list to reveal Zach's fellow Joe Gibbs Racing teammate for the 2003 season. This driver also piloted the number 18 Interstate Battery Chevrolet for the 2006 season. It's Anthony Kroback.
Anthony had a pretty solid season. He collected 4 top 15 finishes during the year. And the other thing that I noticed with Anthony is, as the year went on, he continued to get more and more comfortable with WINSTEL. It's really his first year of WINSTEL competition. And, we've got these very loose setups, and I've noticed that he really started to pick up his game as the season went on. JGR had just switched from Pontiac to Chevrolet for the 2003 season, but there were several Pontiacs still in the field in 2003, and they'll be a welcome addition for all of us next year. No Pontiac was more prominent than the number 32, and for WINSTEL's 2003 season, that's going to be driven by Alex Kalonix.
Kalonix was one of 9 drivers to visit Victory Lane during our 2006 season, and he'll certainly hope to have a highlight as spectacular as Ricky Craven did in that phenomenal win in the Tide Ride in 2003 at Darlington, as we all remember. That, of course, came over the 97 of Kurt Busch, and our next driver will field that Roush Racing 97 for WINSTEL's 2003 season. It's Philip Snipes.
Phil has been one of our longest-running, big-time supporters of WINSTEL. And it's always one to watch when we see him visit a short track. What I noticed with Phil is going to have that one race where he's going to be a threat to win. It's like that every season. Don't know what race that's going to be this year, but you got to watch out for him. Also notice he's going to stay in a Roush Ford. Last year he drove the 99. This year he's going to be driving the 97, but still driving a Roush Ford for the season. Also for 2003, Roush fielded several cars, which includes Mark Martin's iconic number 6. And for WINSTEL's 2003 season, that's going to be driven by Ben Hancock.
Ben picked up 2 top 10s in 14 starts during the 2006 season. He's one of our newer members into the series and has certainly been a welcome addition and continues to pick up speed and get more familiar with the field as he continues to race with us. And he's going to be an easy one to spot in that number 6, as you said, a very iconic ride. We got another Roush car. This one going to be piloted by one of iRacing's pro drivers who chooses to race with us here in WINSTEL. It's the number 99 Citgo Ford. That's going to be fielded by Dylan Alt next year.
And what we've found over the years is WINSTEL attracts all backgrounds and skill levels. Alt joined us well into the 2006 season, but he proved himself to be a upfront contender in all of the races that he ran. I certainly expect him to be a championship contender if he chooses to run for the full 2003 schedule. One last Roush car to talk about. That's the number 17 Ford, and that's going to be driven by myself. Pretty much feel like last year was a pretty solid year, led a lot of laps, never quite broke through the victory lane. Hopefully going to be able to do that this year. Really like to see that number 17 up front and hopefully winning a championship like the real guy did in 2003.
Well, I think I'm going to be hoping that if you do win, it's capped at 1, just like it was in real life, because that's how I feel about the 17. Now, of course, we have several other admins alongside you, Bud, who are also part of this process. That includes Dylan Roberts. Dylan has our 8th number revealed tonight, and appropriately, he will once again be in the number 8 for the 2003 season.
Yeah, like you said, Dylan, always a front runner in WINSTEL. Really, I look at his season and, only one win, but a bunch of second place finishes. And unfortunately, those second place finishes were all to Zach. So take Zach out of the equation, and you've got Dylan with a lot more wins to his resume. But regardless, you just can't count Dylan out. He's going to be good at the road courses. He's going to be good at the speedways. So look for another championship run. Maybe he'll be able to make it happen this year. But moving right along, we're going to continue with our 9th pick, also taken by one of our admins. And this is going to be league owner Brennan McGee, who opts for what else? The number 9, driven by Bill Elliott.
Now, Brennan, obviously, the one that makes everything run here at WINSTEL, and the entire time he has been an unashamed fan of Awesome Bill from Dawsonville. So it's no surprise to see him pick the Dodge Dealers number 9 for the 2003 season. We'll be hearing him yodel all the way through the season in that number 9 car. Our next driver will be one of the Dale Earnhardt Incorporated rides for the 2003 season. She's a major contributor herself to WINSTEL, and she'll be in the number 15 next year. This is Emily Howe.
Yeah, another not surprise car pick from Emily. Huge Michael Waltrip fan, so no surprise to see her running that number 15 car. Emily's also responsible for a ton of the setup work that goes behind our WINSTEL setups. So if you like what you're running each week with these loose setups, then you can talk to Emily and give her a thanks. Hoping to see her have another good, solid season. Going to look for her to be strong at road courses and super speedways next year. And that leaves the third full-time DEI entry left to be claimed, which is the number 1 Pennzoil Chevy, which has been selected to be driven by Parker Alexander for the 2003 season.
Just call him Steve Parker. He's had his eyes set on this car since the 2003 themed season was announced, and I'm sure he's going to be really excited to run it next year. He was the number 2 in the 2006 season. Just subtract 1 and you get him where he needs to be. Parker, a longtime member at this point of WINSTEL, and we're happy to have him still on the track with us. Now, he leaves behind Penske Racing, as I said, to take that number 1 ride. So that leads us to our next driver, who is going to stay with Penske Racing for the 2003 season, driving the number 12 Alltel Dodge in WINSTEL next year. That's Timothy Latham.
Yep, and Timothy ended the season strong in 2006 with a runner-up finish in the season finale at Homestead. So he'll be looking to continue that success when the 2003 season kicks off. I feel like Timothy, another one of those drivers that continued to show improvement towards the end of the season, got a little bit more comfortable with everything. He was another WINSTEL rookie, but did an admirable showing for himself. The only driver who capped off a 2006 campaign with a better run was that of Thomas Lewandowski, driver of the Wood Brothers 21 Ford. Thomas is going to be driving that same number 21 car with a different paint job, a little bit different look for 2003 than what you had in 2006. But he finished the season strong. 3 top 5s in the last 8 races, including that win at Homestead. I think that, Tom was probably a little bit disappointed at missing that chase by just 1 position last year. There's no chase this year, but I expect him to be a championship contender.
He'll certainly be one to watch. Of course, the number 21 is one of the most famous numbers in NASCAR. Another is the 43. The Cheerios Dodge has its driver for the 2003 season, Matt Skipper.
And Skipper's another driver, steadily improved throughout that 2006 season. A little bit of a late start for him. Didn't get to all the first races. Definitely struggled a little bit early on, but continued to improve, including scoring that season best 10th place finish at Atlanta. We'll be watching to see if he can continue that trend into number 43 next year. Before we continue, let's take a look at the schedule for WINSTEL's 2003 season.
Yeah, one of the highlights that jumps off the board immediately is Rockingham being back on the schedule. Obviously, we didn't get to run it in 2006, our 2006 theme season because Rockingham went off the schedule following the 2004 season. Running the 2003 series, we get to run that really unique 1 mile track in North Carolina.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing Rockingham back on the schedule. It's just one of my favorite tracks. Always get some good racing there. In addition to that, there was a league vote. Bristol is going to be back for the 2003 season. I know there were some questions about whether we should do something different, but the league decided this is what we're going to run, and we're going to have a heck of a time putting on a race there.
That's the challenge for us as the administrative staff, right? And Emily to put that all together for sure. One other thing that jumps off as we look at this graphic, there's no chase outlined here. There was no chase in 2003. We also put this to a vote, and I think the correct choice was made by the majority of our members. There will be no chase for our 2003 season either. So the performance and the results at the end of the season are going to be based on the totality of the season, not with a chase at the end, bringing everybody back together.
Yeah, and that's going to be definitely different. It'll really change your mindset as you run all these races. All the points are going to be important everywhere you go, and you're going to have to think about that. You want to push for that one spot. If you're not locked into anything, then you might have to think, well, how hard am I going to push here? How important are my points? Obviously, guys are going to want to win races. Last year it was $5 to win a race. This year it's $10 to win a race. So a little bit of difference. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I like that kind of points racing and tallying up those finishes. And the other thing I really notice is it seems like our members are really wanting to get the feel of that 2003 season. They want to, have all those same rule sets and everything. And that's why we're seeing what we're seeing with no chase.
Yeah, and that's something that we're taking seriously from putting on these events too. Trying to capture as much of that that essence of 2003 as we can within reason. There's some limitations with what the simulation provides, but we're checking off as many boxes as we can for sure. But looking at the schedule, I mean, you've got the road courses with Sonoma and Watkins Glen. You've got short tracks. Obviously, we're going to go to Daytona a couple times, to Talladega. I mean, just a nice variety of tracks for us to showcase the 2003 season on. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Same here. And, I can say this, the amount of work that's gone in behind the scenes by the admin team with just all the different things going on. Schedule, there's a lot of thought given to this schedule, when to time our breaks, try and make it the best we can for everybody. We get to hit every track on the season. We're not skipping any tracks, which is really, really cool. And then obviously all the, just tons of behind the scenes work goes into this. So really looking forward to it. And I really think this is going to be a fun season. Switching gears to one of our top contenders for the 2006 season, it's got to be Jose Salas Jr. Jose nearly won the championship last year within 7 points. And again, under the Latford system, that's 2 positions on track. He'll be pursuing that title in the number 29 car for the 2003 season.
Yeah, we're used to seeing Jose in the number 11 as of recently, which he earned 3 wins with during the 2006 season, and as you said, almost the championship. He'll have this fresh look as he tries to close the deal entirely in 2003. Now, a longtime WINSTEL member will join Jose in a Richard Childress racing ride next year. He's going to be in the number 31 Singular Chevrolet. It's Ken Huff.
Yeah, and you know what? Ken's one of our regulars in WINSTEL. He's been around for as long as I can remember. It's very rare that we'll run an event without Ken joining in. He's also a very talented painter. Going to be having painted quite a few of our cars that we'll be seeing on track this year, and we really appreciate that. And he's just a huge supporter of WINSTEL, clean racer, fun to drive with. I always like having Ken on track.
Shifting back to one of our 2006 chasers, Gabriel Mauricio ended the year strong and was just 29 points shy of the title after, really riding a lot of consistency to that point. He's going to switch to a new car number for 2003, though. He'll be driving Sterling Marlin's number 40.
Yep, and you know what? I think that car is going to fit him well. Consistency is what took Gabe throughout the 2006 season, but he really poured it on at the end, scoring top 5s in 7 out of the 8 races that we ran in that final season. Gabe's a threat to win. I would expect Gabe to be a threat to win at super speedways. I'd expect him to be a threat to win at short tracks. Intermediates, we'll see what he can do. He's been running really strong lately. It wouldn't surprise me to see him pull off a win at one of those either. In addition to the 40 car from Ganassi, we also have the driver of the 41 car, and that this year is going to be Chris Hancock.
Chris, just like Ben, one of the newer members of WINSTEL, making 10 starts during our 2006 season this past year. Again, just like his brother Ben, finding his footing in WINSTEL, and I think really got there towards the end of the season. We're really looking forward to see what Chris can do in that red and white 41. Now that he has some races under his belt, he's a little bit more familiar with most of the field that we'll have running, and can really show what he can do. Now, our next reveal is a case of same number, new look from the 2006 to 2003 themed season. It's the third full-time Ganassi car from 2003, the 42 Havilland Dodge, and this one has been claimed by Brandon McKissick.
Yep, and Brandon McKissick is another WINSTEL regular. It's a guy who we're used to seeing win in WINSTEL. Had a couple opportunities last year. Really got close there at Bristol. No surprise if you see Brandon McKissick running up front. You know, he's also going for a shot at the Coke Series. So again, Brandon's a guy who has continued to grow throughout his time in WINSTEL. Not surprised to see him run up front. Another driver that came oh so close to victory in the 2006 season, Sean Peleg. He's going to be driving the legendary, but not in 2003 yet, number 48 car.
This is a very fortunate turn of events because Sean threatened violence if he didn't end up with Jimmy Johnson's ride from 2003, and I'm not so sure that it was a joke. But kidding aside, Sean was the best of the non-chasers in our 2006 season and will likely be among our top 10 contenders over the full 2003 season next year. Now, you mentioned Jimmy Johnson, not quite to legendary status by the time he got to 2003, but he won a few races that year. Sean can close out races, so look for him to maybe pick a couple off over the course of the 24 race season. Now, Sean's selection leads us to a couple more Hendrick Motorsports rides. One of them is the number 5 with Tony the Tiger on the hood, and this one goes to Ali Osman.
Yeah, Ali picked up 3 top 10s during the 2006 season and made the chase field. He'll be looking to continue that consistency in 2003. I think the key for him this year is if he can minimize those mistakes, then he's consistent enough he can pour on those top 10s, and top 10s is what will win you a championship. The other Hendrick ride that's been claimed is one of the most iconic rides in the field. Of course, the number 24 DuPont Chevrolet, and this is going to be driven for the second year in a row by Nicholas Doucette.
Nick had 2 wins and a really strong start to the 2006 season. The summer in the chase didn't quite go the way he drew it up, so he'll be looking to start strong and stay strong next year. I won't point out that he kind of followed the model of Jeff Gordon in 2006, and if he does that in 2003, he'll come up short again. Maybe he can turn the tide a little bit and break from the script. But Nick, one of our fastest members, can really hot lap and run with the best of them. So he'll be in contention for some wins for sure. All right. Next, we want to reveal the polar opposite of a Hendrick ride from 2003.
I'm going to have to think about this. Pray to Jesus for a minute. What about Morgan Shepherd's number 89?
That is perfect.
This is another one of our league admins, and he's made a habit of driving the number 89, which is Hayden Repass.
Now, Hayden will certainly exceed the real-life results of the 89 in real life, considering it DNQ'd in 9 of 11 attempts and finished last in the other 2 where it actually started. That kidding aside, Hayden, another person who does a lot to help make WINSTEL go round, always judiciously working with us to put on the events, admin the events from inside the cockpits, and then break it down afterwards on the rare case that we have something that needs a closer look. Hayden's always there to be one of the more level-headed people in the room for sure. Now, as long as we've got Hayden done, let's knock out our remaining admins, first with Alex Bates. Bates is going to switch over to the MB2 Motorsports number 10 Pontiac for 2003, originally driven by Johnny Benson.
Yeah, and Alex is another one of our admins. A lot of contribution to the league behind the scenes, both his time and his money helping us out. We really appreciate that. You know, obviously with the broadcasting and everything that we do at WINSTEL, all the ones who contribute to us want to take a little extra time say thank you to them. And Alex is one of those. And I think that number 10 car is a really good fit for Alex. I think he's going to look just right in that car. Tyler, you're the last admin, and with a car number to reveal. We're used to seeing you in a number 4 car, but you're going to be changing it up this season for 2003, driving the number 86 car.
Yeah, this whole season is a nod and a wink to NASCAR Racing 2003 season, right? So being able to get in the Papyrus 86 car, I'm going to be Fred Jones or maybe the player. I'm really looking forward to running this one. I mean, it's the first thing that popped into my head when we said, hey, we're going to run a 2003 season was this car that you're in by default when you load up that game. So I really look forward to driving it to 25th every week.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I'm hoping that everybody who gets to watch these broadcasts is going to get the kick out of seeing that car on track. And honestly, your last few races, we're all running up front in the top 5, so we might be seeing a lot of that car.
I spent my luck. All right, there's just a few more picks to be revealed, but first, a look at some of the changes that will coincide with the 2003 season. One of the things that jumps out here immediately to me, no more mini seasons and the purse changes. Now, you alluded to this a little bit when we were talking about the schedule.
Yeah, so last year we had, we called them mini seasons, but basically we broke the schedule down into 3 separate parts, and there were payouts for the season champion of each of those. And after some discussion, and we had some thoughts about how that worked last year, we really felt like, we'd rather than award people for a mini season, let's just spread that money out throughout the whole field. So we're actually going to be paying back through the top 20 now. Last year we paid through the top 15. And also winning a race last year, $5. This year, going to be $10 to win. So, if you paid a $10 entry fee and you win a race, you're racing for free. Everything else is just extra. So, and I really think that that's probably, a better way to do it. I'm really looking forward to that. The mini seasons, they had their place. It was a good experiment, but a little more traditional way to do things I'm looking forward to.
And the good thing I'll note is that while the mini seasons are gone, we are still breaking up the season a little bit. So when it comes to be Memorial Day time or 4th of July time or even back to school time, we're going to have a couple weeks for people to live their lives and then come back on Sunday nights and race with us.
Yeah, and definitely, avoid that burnout. This is going to be a 24 race season. It's a long season. You get a little break in there. If you had a few bad races, you get to take a little break and come back fresh.
We're jumping around a little bit out of order here, but on the note of having some bad races, we've scrapped provisionals and we've just formalized 4 drop weeks, which is up from, I believe, 3 from our 2006 season. So out of every 6 races, basically in a 24 race season, you get a mulligan, which I think is a lot more valuable when we, run into life or run into a spinning car out of turn 2.
Yeah, for sure. And ultimately, and this is going to parlay into the fact that this year we don't have a charter system. There is no charter. If you're in the top 35 in points, you are locked into the race. If you fall out of that top 35, you are not locked into the race. But you do get your drop weeks, and we understand it. A lot of people aren't going to make all 24 weeks. That's there for a reason. But the other thing is, we're going to really those who are participating each week are going to be able to get locked in. New members who start a little bit late come in. They can break into that top 35, get locked into the races. So, again, it's a little different system than the charter, but a little bit. One that I actually like a little bit more.
And it's also more than just a bit more pragmatic, in our humble opinion, but also a nod and a wink to the way things were in real life, as will be single file restarts for all tracks. Double file restarts for 2006 were a little bit of creative liberty. We're scrapping the creative liberty for 2003 and going in on the theming.
Yeah, unfortunately, if you're double filing in this, it's because you went a lap down. That's how it was in 2003. And, but I know the guys in this league, if they're lining up on the inside, they're going to be racing hard to get that lap back the old-fashioned way. And it's going to be pretty fun to watch.
Absolutely. Obviously, these are just some highlights of some things that have changed. If you need a refresher or if you're new to the league and you want to see our full set of rules, we have that available easily from the WINSTEL Discord. All right, picking it back up. Part of what's fun about these theme seasons is seeing cars that may have faded in our memory on the track again. Our next few picks are examples of just that. First up, the number 81 Kraft 100th anniversary car. This goes to William Boisvert.
Yep, and William rattled off 3 consecutive top 15 finishes to finish the 2006 season. I expect he's going to give this car, which had a pretty modest showing in the 2003 season, a nice run next year. And you know what? It's a good-looking car, and I'm looking forward to seeing it on track. Next, a car from the early days of Michael Waltrip's career as a car owner. The 00 made starts in 2003 with Buckshot Jones and Mike Skinner. Next year in WINSTEL, it goes to Josh Parasoto.
Josh had a solid summer racing with us in our 2006 season. He's another one that I identify as one of our newer members. Got really familiar with our group, rattled off a few top 15 finishes. So we're going to look forward to seeing what he can do in that 00 in our 2003 season. Now, before running that 00 in 2003, Mike Skinner started the year in the Kodak machine. Now, the number 4 Pontiac in our 2003 season is going to be wheeled by Christina Ryan.
Yeah, and Christina enjoyed several top 10 and top 5 runs during the 2006 season en route to a 15th place finish in the points. And we got to remember, she was a late addition to WINSTEL, so missed some races early on, still managed to put up a solid showing. Competitive driver, she wants to win. Almost had one at Talladega, very close there. Wouldn't surprise me to see a continuation of what we saw last year with Christina. Our next driver is a big-time contributor, everything WINSTEL does. He'll switch back to a number we've grown used to seeing him over the years at WINSTEL, and that's going to be Brandon Cruz Monsivice driving the number 54 that was the Todd Bodine National Guard car in 2003.
Yeah, like you said, Cruz enables us to do a lot of what we do in WINSTEL through the sponsorship he brings with Brandon Cruz Daily Fantasy Sports. We, of course, appreciate his help and look forward to seeing him in that National Guard Ford next year. Again, beyond his contributions to the league, he's been a constant participant over all the years that WINSTEL's been branded WINSTEL, as far as I know, and is a regular on the track. We're happy to have him back for 2003 for sure.
Looking forward to having him in that number 54 again. I think he was driving the number 20 last year, and I feel like he missed that number 54, so it'd be good to see him back in that number he's comfortable with.
Oh, for sure. Now, the other Bodine brother, Brett, drove the number 11 Ford in 2003. Now, with Jose Salas Jr. moving to the 29, that clears the way for Lilac Zier to take over the number 11 in WINSTEL.
Yep, and not surprised to see Lilac driving a Ford. She drove a Ford last year with that Stephen Light number 90 car, and kind of showing her Ford Blue in her posts and everything. So hopefully she can put that Hooters car up front. She think that's another driver who's steadily improved as I've seen her grow in WINSTEL. Another WINSTEL rookie last year. It's going to be her sophomore year. So going to see what she can do in that machine. Just a few rides left to reveal now, including 2 of our chasers from the 2006 season. James Holzer going to be picking up where he left off, this time driving the number 91 for the 2003 season.
Yeah, Holzer, a new addition to WINSTEL for the 2006 season, and boy, did he make a splash. He racked up 5 wins and only missed out on an opportunity to win the championship because for some reason he decided to go watch Ross Chastain violate the terms of service in Martinsville. So obviously he's going to be one to watch for the 2003 championship, provided that he gets his schedule in order.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely expect Holzer to be running up front, and he didn't lead a ton of laps, but he was always there, ready to pounce when that opportunity presented itself. So definitely one to watch next season.
Now we've reached the penultimate reveal for the night, and it's another one of the pro drivers that chooses to race with us in WINSTEL. After a season in the 7 car, Ryan Doucette returns to familiar territory, the number 77 in 2003.
Yeah, Ryan's been with WINSTEL for years, always fast. I mean, is there a track that you don't look for Ryan Doucette to be a threat? Road courses, short tracks, super speedways. Ryan's won it all. As long as I don't run him over when he's trying to pit, I'm sure he's going to have another solid season. Last but not least on our list, TJ Crampton. We don't have any more cars to reveal, so it's only revealing that we reveal TJ as the driver of the number 0 Pontiac for next season.
Yes, we have absolutely 0 left to show. Yeah, TJ joined us midway through our 2006 season and had several solid runs, particularly at our super speedways. So watch out for him in our 3 races, a couple at Daytona and Talladega next year. We wish him and everyone else that we featured here tonight good luck when we get started at Daytona. And here's one last look at each of the numbers claimed so far. Anything jump out on this list to you, Christian?
A couple things jump out to me, and one is that some of the cars that didn't get picked, and we've got a full field of 71 different options here. Okay, so naturally, not every car is going to get picked, but that's going to leave some opportunities for some of our new drivers as they come in to pick up a top tier ride. So I'm looking forward to that. Other thing is, I think we're going to see these drivers, they've got their own personalities, and we're kind of used to seeing these cars as we remember them in 2003. Now we're going to get to see them again with a different driver behind the wheel. It's going to be really cool. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, and I'll say, looking at this list, I see, we talk about the championship, but the top 10 for the overall season is going to pay out. And on this list of 30 some odd drivers, I feel like there's 20 that if they have solid races and they're able to participate for the full 24 race season, they're going to be in contention to finish in that top 10, which back in the day was a very prestigious thing to do. And if I were able to do it, I don't think I will, but if I were able to do it next year, I'd be pretty happy with that result. So I think we have a very competitive field already set to get going. But of course, there's still room for people to join us with open registration getting ready to start. And as you mentioned, several notable rides left to go. You said there's 71 total available, but I mean, there's several of the prominent full-time rides, putting them up on the screen here now. Greg Biffle's ride, Jimmy Spencer's one with the serious dog on the hood. Shoot, the Blue Deuce. I mean, there's a lot to pick from here.
Yeah, and I have no doubt those rides are going to get picked up. I think it kind of comes down to, there's so many good, I'll tell you, I know you've done a lot of painting for us this year. I've done a lot myself, and because of that, I'm getting to look at all these cars again, and I just, man, you see all these cars and they all look good. 2003 really some good paint jobs out there. And the other thing I'm looking forward to this year, and when we did 2006 season, it came together pretty late. We pretty much just went with what the community had already painted. We've got a little bit more lead time this year, so I'm looking forward to seeing some of these guys running some of their secondaries, some of the different paint jobs, even than the primaries that we get to see every week.
Well, and obviously you have almost frustratingly covered every 17 car that was ever imagined in 2003, but you've even ticked off a couple of the secondaries, like the 9 and the 19 alternate that they started the year with, I believe, in Daytona, and a few others on the list, and several other people who've been painting alongside us. Alex Russell comes to mind, Nick Doucette comes to mind, Ken Huff comes to mind. Definitely going down the list. I mean, shoot, I think of the 42 car that Brandon McKissick has selected for next year, and we have even gone through and made the way the car was for the first half of the year versus the way it was for the second half of the year with just like a difference in the stroke. So that lead time is being put to use for sure.
Yeah, and it's going to be fun. I think, I'm hoping that everybody really gets a kick out of that, seeing all these different cars, and maybe broadcast can highlight some of these special schemes when they show up, because that's just part of what made those old races so cool. We're going to see a lot of the primaries in 2003. It wasn't like today's NASCAR where, man, they got a different paint job every week, but then when those specials did come up, it's always cool to just see that, so I'm looking forward to that. And just all the care that's been taken with painting these cars, agonizing over little contingencies and everything, just trying to get these things to look as close as we can to what they had. I think it's going to look really good. And moving beyond the cars, I think there's something that you got to say about what we're going to see with these broadcasts.
Yeah, so Zach Johnson and FTF.GG has been working with us to really bring that theming home, and we've had a lot of discussions with him trying to stay in line with what we were able to do with the last third of the 2006 season and theme these broadcasts based on the broadcast partners of the day and the graphics packages that they had. So that classic Fox ticker and the classic NBC look in the second half of the year, we're working with Zach to get that put together as we have these races going on. So if you happen to just want to join us to see the races, or you want to send off that link and let any of your friends or family watch you compete, if they have any familiarity with NASCAR 20 years ago, they'll have a nice hit of nostalgia from the broadcast as well.
Yeah, and I got to say, I'm really looking forward to that. Again, with 2006 season, we got a taste of it. That last, 6 races or so where we got that 2006 ticker, and watching those broadcasts back really, to me, brings that to life. We're going to start off right the right way this year with that Fox ticker at the Daytona 500. That's going to be awesome.
Now, obviously, if you haven't already signed up to race with us, it's pretty simple to do. I've directed you on this graphic to head over to our Discord, but Bud, you want to give people a few words on what they need to do to get started with us?
Yeah, it's really simple. Honestly, the easiest thing to do is join the Discord, and then you want to follow the selections. Okay, so basically, you want to select a car. We're going to have all the cars available on a spreadsheet, be nicely laid out so you can see what's available, what's been picked, and then from there, once you submit your $10, that is your car. Okay, and that's how it works. And so if you are a new member to WINSTEL, you're not going to be locked into the races. The races are going to be qualifying in. The top 34 drivers are going to be locked in. That means that there's going to be 8 spots every week that you can race into. So you qualify into those. You earn owners points. If you show up for the race, you will get some points to help you try and break into that top 35. And then, but you're good for the season. It's $10. You're good for the season. If you win a race, you're getting $10. If you finish in the top 5, there's payouts. If you finish in the top 10, there's payouts all the way through the top 20. So the idea really is you can practically race here for free. There's going to be a lot of fun. Just, if you watch our races, if you go back and look at our 2006 season and see how those races looked, you're going to see a lot of similar stuff this year. And it's super competitive. The guys here, they race really hard, but I will say they race clean too. I've never been able to be so trusting with guys racing like I can here at WINSTEL.
Yeah, we're very fortunate to not just have the product that we put together with the theming, but we have a great group of guys and gals out on the track racing with us. Very intense, very close door-to-door racing throughout the year, and really challenges you to fight for everything that you can get on the track, which our field, including myself, tends to find very rewarding. So if that sounds interesting to you, and if you have any questions about how to join, obviously Christian's led you to our Discord, but if you still have questions, feel free to reach out to myself or Christian or any of our other admins, or hey, even just drop something in the chat on that Discord, and one of us will be happy to point you in the right direction and answer any questions that you have. It's going to be a fun year of racing for sure.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it once again. WINSTEL's, kind of built up a reputation for these slick tracks and loose setups and close door-to-door racing, and no reason to see why that's not going to be happening again this year. And, again, just want to say thanks to everybody who's been putting in a ton of work behind the scenes to make this season what it's going to be. I mean, a lot of hours, a lot of thought. Tyler and Brennan, Alex, all the admins, Hayden, Dylan Roberts. Really, really appreciate everything everybody's doing to bring this to us. And man, it's going to be fun in February.
Absolutely, I can't wait for it to get here. Obviously, we hope you'll be able to join us on Sunday nights starting February 26th for a season full of nostalgia and great racing here at WINSTEL. Until then, good night from Christian and myself. Happy holidays, and we'll see you on the track.